board out of the Cyclone. Like I said, luckily everything was exactly the same. Not Cyclone, I'm sorry. Yeah, Cyclone. Everything was the same. So I brought their board home. Typical battery, corrosion, broken wires. This battery was sitting right on top of there. I'm not sure which way it was, but I'm thinking some stuff leaked down onto one of these CPU chips here. So anyway, this is the project I'm going to be doing while I'm waiting for some parts for that Marantz 22 to come in. Yeah, so follow along if you're interested in some pinball repairs. I'll be doing some, we'll look at some schematics, and we'll do some voltage testing and some other small troubleshooting processes on the Williams System 11. I think it's a Bravo. I can't remember. I know it's not Charlie, but I think it's Bravo. All right, catch up with you soon. All right, I don't see anything. I mean, I see a little bit of powdery residue on this side. I'm going to pull that chip out real quick, and usually I have a proper straight slot small guy that I've bent and I can't find it. But if they're socketed, what you want to do is just gently work them out. I don't know if I can get this one in there. I cannot. Like I said, my stuff is so unorganized right now. It's really frustrating and tiresome. And I need to get this shop cleaned back up again. This is an overkill of a straight slot. But you just kind of pry gently. Kind of working around the camera here too, that way you could all see. But you just kind of work these things gently back and forth. And really, if you're at home, you should be wearing an anti-static bracelet. I have an anti-static mat I stand on, but yeah, I don't see anything really on this chip. So, and socket doesn't look like it got a lot of stuff. So what I might do is I'm gonna go through, touch up some connectors, just like on jukeboxes and stereo gear. Edge connectors can get cracks, bad solder joints. This pinball was out in someone's shop, so unheated, which is the worst thing for these machines. So I'm gonna touch up everything, and then we'll plug it in, and we will, oh, look at that. Here's another, this resistor package. It looks like, I can't tell if it was replaced or just touched up, or just bad solder joints from the factory. They look factory still. So anyway, I'll pick you back up with this plugged into my Whirlwind, and we'll troubleshoot from there. Not sure how this is going to show up, but after really looking at the magnifying glass, right here and here and here, there's corrosion all inside those pins. So I'm going to replace this 40-pin socket really quick. There's no reason to show you that. It's boring, and I'll just be jibber-jabbering. All right, something else. After you get the chip sockets out, or if it's that was a socket, sometimes it's just a regular chip. I usually check to make sure these boards are not made for multiple on-off, on-off. That's why it's great when you take it out the first time, get a socket on there. I did pop a couple traces on the back side, which I'll have to fix. But something you should do is you should check to make sure that nothing else is, traces are popped. The way these chips run, you can see there's a little indentation right here. That tells you the orientation of the chip. Pin 1, pin 40, because this is a 40-pin chip. So 1 through 20 on one side, 21 through 40 on the other side. I'm looking at the drawing here, and like it shows me pins 2. So pin 1 will go to ground, but pin 2 is going to go up to the resistor package number 5, which is right here. And it's basically going to run to pin 2. So I would check my meter and make sure pin 3 goes to 3, 4 goes to 4, 5, 6, 7, and is 8. Yeah, 8 goes to 8. And 9 goes to 9. There it goes. Pin 10 on here is ground, so you can check, you know, your ground sources like that. And where you can see that, if you come to your drawings, we got a little light in there, but you can see we have U41, that's the chip we're working on. I have pins 2 through 9. Let's go over to this resistor package. You can see how they go 2 through 9. Other pins go other places, but you can see pins 10 through basically 17 go over to the resistor package number 2. Then we have other ones going to address lines, data lines, reset, things like that. So I need to check them all. But anyway, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. I just do it because I don't want to get over there, have something not working, and find out it was something I could have fixed when I had it up here on the bench, easier to work at. It takes a little time to trace them all out, but it can be done. All right, just a quick tip. All right, we're back on this Williams System 11 board. Been testing it, stuff like that. Just, you know, checking sure all the pins are going to where they're supposed to on the data lines and stuff. But as I was doing that, I'm not sure if you can see, but right there, I saw a little more corrosion. So I'm going to have to cut this 74-139 chip out and put a socket in there. I just use a small Dremel, and I cut the chip itself out, leaving just the legs. And then I'm able to use the solder iron and a pair of needle nose and pull the legs out. That way you're not putting too much heat on those traces. So I'm going to get that done. But and then I'll show you the drawings, how to navigate around the drawings a little bit next. Okay, I figured I'd show you what I do. So I cut the legs on the one side, then I can lift the chip up and I can just heat those up gently and pull those legs all out, and then use the solder sucker really quickly to get the solder out of the holes, instead of trying to use it on the back side and trying to suck all the solder through, because a lot of it gets hung up on the legs. But I found this is the safest way for me to do it. People might not agree with it. I use a fine cutting blade on a Dremel tool and just keep my hand very steady, and then I'll fold this back down, do the other side, and then that chip will be out. Okay, now you see that the chip is removed. Here's what's left of it. And like I said, now I'll just use a pair of needle nose and grab these gently. Where's my little pointer at? Let's get up here. And then I could grab each of these carefully. Small amount of heat, pull them out. Less damage to all these fine traces that are on these boards. All right, and here you can see the new socket, 16-pin socket installed. No traces were popped or burned. And you can see it right here. Yep. And you know, clean up your mess and have a bunch of flux sitting on the back side. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to test out each socket leg on this side, but I'll need to look at a drawing to see where they go to or it corresponds on the board. And I'll show you how to read that here in just a second. Okay, now I want to check my signal paths on the address lines, the data lines, or just regular signal lines. So I bring up my schematic. This is a Williams System 11 Bravo schematic, and there's 4 pages, and I already know that U12 is on page 4, so we're gonna go to page 4. So here's page 4, and let's get this a little bit bigger, and we can see we have chip U12 right there. Where's my little pointer stick? Here it is. All right, before I make you all dizzy here. So here's U12, and we can see we have pin 1, pin 2, pin 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, but we know there's more pins than that. Oh, and 16's there also. but we know there's more pins than that on there. So what they've done is they've split that chip into 2 different parts. And down here, we pick up with pin 8 going to ground, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 going to ground. Pin 16 was back up on the other one up here. So what we can look for is we can see like pin 1 comes out, goes to U34, pin 10, and it also comes down, goes to U37, pin 15. So let me get over to there for you. Okay, we're back at the board. I'm going to show you. So we said on our chip U12 that we just replaced, it's going to go from pin 1, goes to chip U34, and that goes to pin 10. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So pin 10's over here. Pin 1 always starts left of the notch, goes down, and then goes back up. So this up here would be pin 14. So I just have my meter on the resistance checker, but I have it on the beepers just so we can check real fast. So I'm on pin 1, and then we go 8, 9, 10. We have good continuity. I can look at it and see I've only have about less than an ohm of resistance in there. So there's going to be a little bit of resistance. But that's how you check those. Now, let's go back over to the screen here. Some of them will be where you have to, let me get this a little bit closer here. Okay, some of them, let's look, okay, so like right here, coming off of pin 2, oh, not right on there. So coming off of pin 2, it goes to A8. And then you see A9 goes in here, A13 goes into there. This is our address line. So that's an address. And that's just a bunch of, it's a short way so they don't have to draw all these lines. They just say, look at the address line. So I try to look on here, like, and I don't see, like if I wanted to, I could see pin 14 loops up with pin 5 of U37, but pin 8 does not go to anything here. So what you have to do, as you can see, this is part of the address line. So now we need to go someplace. Man, I keep getting things hooked up to the internet. Go away. Anyway, I hate computers sometimes, you know. Let's go to someplace where we can find where A8's coming into, and we can look on there. Data lines, address. So we're back to drawing 1 here. And what do we have? Where's our, that's going out. Okay, so we could go to chip U13 and check pin 16 of that one. So U13, 16 meets up with U12, 2. So U13, 16 and U12, 2. Oh my gosh, look at that. Isn't that professional? Hold on a second. All right, I'm back after that great drop of the camera. So it was U12, pin 2, and U13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So it's at 16, right? So, I know here's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And let's come around to pin 2. And we have good continuity. So anyway, that's kind of the way you will check your chips when you replace them. You can follow the data paths. What else can I show you on those drawings real fast? Oh, I'll show you another thing on the drawings. Let me bring this up. You see my thing here. You can tell this is nice photography here, huh? Here's another thing that you might run into when you're doing stuff. To see where a signal is coming from, see how this is pointing in. And what this stands for is, if I want to pick up this read-write line address, I would go to schematic 2 C4. You can see here on the sides they have ABC, and then across the top they have the numbers. So we go to drawing 2. We're at drawing 3, drawing 2, and we'd go over to the C4 area right in here, and then we would find where that read-write line comes in at to pick that up. Right here, address line, read-write. And you tell it's pointing in, so it came from page 4, Bravo 4 area. It also comes from page 1, Bravo 4. So that's how, I hope you guys all saw that. That's how you can read these schematics. If you have other questions, let me know, and I can try to point them out. I mean, we're showing our transistors. A little bit different kind of transistors than what we use in the stereo equipment. Again, these are chips. You see like this U18 is broken down into 4 different sections, and you can just follow the pins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 must be a ground or not used, or it's someplace else. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 14. So probably our 5 volts and our ground. I wish I want to be able to find it for you. But anyway, with a little practice, you'll be reading these things like a champ. All right, any questions? Hey, send me a message. All right, I'm going to close on this first part of the video because it's getting a little bit long. But so what we went through was finding corrosion on the board caused by the battery here. This happens a lot with these AA batteries, and I still need to get a new holder and some wood dowels and pegs, and I'm gonna mount the battery off of the board. But I'll have a fake one here with some dowel pins with connectors going to the battery off the board. So if it leaks again, it won't be bad for the customer. I kind of showed you about taking off the chips, the sockets. This one was a chip that was in the board itself. I use a fine cutting blade, cut the legs very carefully. Again, if you're not comfortable, don't do that. That's just me. I've gotten used to doing that. And then I use a pair of really fine needle nose and my soldering gun. I just have a Hakko gun here, or a Hakko soldering iron, a Hakko desoldering gun. I pulled those out so I'm not doing damage to the bottom of the board. And then reinstall the stuff, and that shows you how to check it and how to read the schematic. And yeah, so the next video will be where I put this back in and we start testing to see if we have a functioning board again and where we have to go from there. I'm hoping the corrosion was it. One thing I will do before I do put this back in, all of these solder Molex header pins, I'll flip the board over and I'll touch all these pins up while I have it out, just to make sure there's no cold solder joints, cracked solder joints, things like that. But hey, I always appreciate everyone watching. If you have any questions on specific stuff, let me know. I'll give you my best effort to help you out. And yeah, all right, have fun playing pinball, have fun listening to music, and just have fun doing whatever you're doing, living life. All right, take care. All right, something else. After you get the chip sockets out, or if it's that was a socket, sometimes it's just a regular chip. I usually check to make sure these boards are not made for multiple on, off. That's why it's great when you take it off the first time, get a socket on there. I did pop a couple traces on the back side, which I'll have to fix. But something you should do is you should check to make sure that nothing else traces are popped. The way these chips run, you can see there's a little indentation right here. That tells you the orientation of the chip. Pin 1, pin 40, because this is a 40 pin chip. So 1 through 20 on one side, 21 through 40 on the other side. I'm looking at the drawing here, and like it shows me pins 2. So pin 1 will go to ground, but pin 2 is going to go up to the resistor package number 5, which is right here. and it's basically going to run to pin 2. So I would check my meter and make sure pin 3 goes to 3, 4 goes to 4, 5, 6, 7, and is 8. Yeah, 8 goes to 8, and 9 goes to 9. There it goes. Pin 10 on here is ground, so you can check, you know, your ground sources like that. And where you can see that, if you come to your drawings, I got a little light in there, but you can see we have U41, that's the chip we're working on. I have pins 2 through 9. Let's go over to this resistor package. You can see how they go 2 through 9. Other pins go other places, but you can see pins 10 through basically 17 go over to the resistor package number 2. Then we have other ones going to address lines, data lines, reset, things like that. So I need to check them all. But anyway, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. I just do it because I don't want to get over there, have something not working, and find out it was something I could have fixed when I had it up here on the bench, easier to work at. It takes a little time to trace them all out, but it can be done. All right, just a quick tip.